Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you guys this epic fight scene MOC between Symbiote Spider-Man and Sandman, and it is actually based off of 2007's Spider-Man 3, and this video is actually in collaboration with 5 other awesome creators. The links to their channels will be in the description, where we each had to build a MOC based off of a fight scene between Spider-Man and one of the members of the Sinister 6. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So first off, there's this roof at the very top of the MOC, and it's built using these 8x6 slanted tiles, which give the build some more angles, and then these black tiles which make the roof look a lot smoother, and the roof is actually offset by one stud in all directions, which really brings the build together more nicely. Next, there's these pillars that support the roof, and they have these spray paint patches which add a pop of color to the build to distract from all that gray. There's also these patches of snot bricks with plates to add more dimension to the build, and these chains which add to the whole underground subway vibe. So there's actually these subway tracks that are made up of these jumper plates and gray tiles to resemble the different rails, and on top of one of them is actually this subway cart, and it's basically built using the snot technique, where I then attached light and dark gray tiles, but I added some other cool common details that you'd find on a subway, such as these grill plates, these conically shaped wheels that are built out of these 2x2 round plates attached to a bar piece, these large windows, and this brick built door that is placed on its side. So you can kind of see that the MOC is made up of these large walls on opposing sides, and one of them has these large patches of nougat masonry bricks, which are supposed to show the dilapidation of the wall, and again to vary the color of the whole MOC. And there's also these pipes made of bar pieces in several sizes and shapes, and these different connector pieces, and there are also some patches of spray paint in different colors. If we make our way to the bottom of the wall, you'll see this movie accurate big sewer grate, and basically how I built it is that I used these slopes first of all to figure out the generic shape of it, because I wanted to make it as round as possible, and then I attached these bar pieces to some jumper plates on their side for the horizontal ones, and the vertical ones are basically placed normally, and there is a patch of water and some slopes that lead up to the actual floor of the MOC, and all around it there's this yellow and black border that is also accurate to the movie, and that's basically built with tiles, and then there's a snot connection for the vertical part of this lining. If we look at the floor of the MOC itself, you can see once again it's light gray tiles with some plates to add some variation and roughness, and there's this pile of boxes on the edge with this puddle that Sandman actually falls into in the movie, and there's this bag full of money, and there's also a newspaper and some chains, and these grates, all things that add to the underground kind of vibe that I was going for with this build. So shifting to the other side of the MOC, there's this large pipe that Spider-Man actually breaks open to kill Sandman, and surprisingly this pipe was one of the hardest parts of the build, because I wanted to make it curve into the wall, and the transition was actually the hardest part. So I actually ended up having like 5 to 6 prototypes for this. There's a picture on the screen of one of the previous ones, and in the end I settled for this snot technique, and I don't know why I hadn't thought of it earlier, but I basically stacked plates in a circular manner to give it the round feel, and then I did the same for the side, and it just blends in really nicely, and I like how it looks. If we start moving up, you can see that there's this platform that you can access using this ladder, which is just the basic ladder element, and the platform has this railing made of several ladders on their sides attached with clip pieces, and there are actually a few lights to give the build some more variety. As a cool little Easter egg, I included Eddie Brock, who is the photographer of Spider-Man for the Daily Bugle in Spider-Man 3, and it adds some more life and character to the build overall. So taking a look at what is probably my favorite part of the MOC is this very cool Spider-Man mural that I wanted to give this cool graffiti vibe, and I included first of all this drip effect that I've seen other YouTubers use, such as McWizard in his MOCs, and I built this by using a snot technique. It just fits in snugly, and for the shape of the face itself, you can see that there's this black border made up of tiles and bricks, and the hardest part was fitting in the eyes with the rest of it, because I didn't want it to look too square. So I built the eye using these different sized slopes to give it that familiar feel that Spider-Man costumes famously have, and then I fitted in slopes and tiles and cheese wedges to fill in the gaps, and I really like how this mural turned out. If we take a look at the middle of the MOC, there's this diagonal pipe that I made using these 1x1 round bricks, and I had to use these snot bricks with jumper plate to attach the connection from one wall to the other, and I used these curved bar pieces to make the diagonal shape. Taking a look at the minifigs, you can see that on one side there's Sandman, which is just the basic Sandman minifig, which I really like, and I built this brick-built sand arm to show that Sandman is attacking Spider-Man, and it's made with these rounded 2x1 plates and some cheese wedges, and there's also some transparent bar pieces and these round bricks to attach Sandman to the roof to show that he's falling. And if we look at Spider-Man, he is a black Spider-Man, which you'll notice isn't actually a minifigure. And no, it is not a custom that you can buy, but it is a custom that I made myself, where I talk about how I made it. I basically use these blue translucent webs because I didn't have any white, and they're shooting at Sandman, and one of them is swinging from the roof, and I really like the pose that I managed to accomplish for the minifigures. But finally, as promised, I managed to make this epic Spider-Man minifig that you can't get anywhere else, because they did actually make a San Diego 2019 Comic-Con one, but it is completely inaccurate to the movie. It is more comic accurate. So I decided to make a more movie accurate one because it just adds so much to the MOC. And the first thing you need to do is find a fully black or almost fully black minifig. As you can see, mine had some printing, but it was minimal. And the first thing I tried was mask taping and then drawing over, but that did not work because it is too small and too detailed, and that just didn't work for me. But then I thought about printing with label paper, and so I used my sister's mini picture printer that just happened to have label paper. And after a lot of Photoshop reformatting and a lot of failed trials, I managed to get the correct size for the minifigures. So I cut them and I stuck them, and it looks amazing. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the other members of this collab because they did an amazing job. Like the video and consider subscribing because it's free and you can always change your mind. And follow me on Instagram because there's some behind the scenes magic happening there. And join the Discord server because a lot of cool people meet there. So see you in the next one.